The kingdom as a spiritual family. During this Passover week, Jesus and the apostles had been busy with teaching and pastoral work. At Wednesday's afternoon, when they all were together at Lazarus' house, Thomas asked a question that provoked a long and instructive answer. Thomas asked, "Master, you have given us many instructions regarding our personal way of life, but what should we teach people? How should these people live after they enter the kingdom? For example, may they keep slaves? Should those who believe in you prefer poverty and shun property? Will only mercy prevail, so that we no longer need laws and justice among ourselves?" Jesus and the 12 spent the entire afternoon discussing these kinds of future questions. We summarized the answers Jesus gave. Jesus explained that the kingdom was not the best way to clarify man's relationship to God. Yet he had chosen it because the Jewish people had been expecting the kingdom for generations, and also because he could then build on the preaching of John the Baptist, who had also preached in terms of the coming kingdom. Jesus said, "The people of a coming age will understand the gospel of the kingdom better when it is expressed in terms of family relationship." In times when man comes to understand religion as the doctrine of the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of men and sonship with God, Jesus outlined the synonym between an earthly family as an illustration of the heavenly family. By reiterating the two fundamental, the first commandment of love for the father, the head of the family, and the second commandment of mutual love between the children among themselves. Love your brother as yourself. Jesus then explained that such a quality of brotherly affection would invariably manifest itself in selfless, loving service to the community. This was followed by the memorable discussion on the fundamental characteristics of family life and their applicability to the relationship that exists between God and man. Jesus stated that a true family is birthed on the following 7 facts. 1. The fact of existence. Natural relations and the phenomena of similarities between mortals are closely linked to the family. Children inherit certain traits from the parents. The children have their origin in their parents. The existence of the personality depends on the act of the father. 2. Security and pleasure. True fathers take great pleasure in providing for the needs of their children. Many fathers are not content merely to provide for the needs of their children but take great pleasure in making provision for their pleasures as well. 3. Education and training. Wise fathers make careful plans for the upbringing and adequate education of their sons and daughters. When these are young, they are prepared for the greater responsibilities of later life. 4. Discipline and restraint. Forward-thinking fathers also provide the necessary discipline, guidance, reprimand, and sometimes restraint for their young, immature offspring. 5. Comradeship and loyalty. The loving father deals confidentially and lovingly with his children. He is always open to their requests. He is always willing to share their adversity and help them through their difficulties. The father is supremely interested in the steadily increasing welfare of his offspring. 6. Love and mercy. A compassionate father forgives easily. Fathers do not harbor vengeful memories toward their children. Fathers do not behave like judges, enemies, or creditors. Real families are built on forbearance, patience, and forgiveness. 7. Provision for the future. Earthly fathers like to leave a legacy for their children. The family continues to exist from generation to generation. Death ends the life of an individual human being, but the life force flows on into the family. Jesus made the connection between the characteristics of family life and the relationship between man as being a child of God the Father. He spoke from his own experience saying, "I know in perfection, this whole relationship of being the Son with my Father, and this all is ready for you in the eternal future of your sonship. I have already received it as the Son of Man. I am ready to ascend to the right hand of my heavenly Father, whence I can open the way even wider for you all to see God. For all who are in the kingdom, as a son of God, there lies before you a glorious road who leads you upward, along which you will become perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. Jesus is a divine Son, a Son who enjoys the full trust of the Heavenly Father. He had walked with the Father and he fully understood him. He had now lived his earthly life to full satisfaction of the Father, and the experience in a human body had enabled him to fully understand man. Jesus was the consummation of man. He had attained the same perfection destined for all true believers, the supreme consummation attainable through him. Jesus revealed a God of perfection to man and showed in himself the perfected Son to God. Thomas was not yet fully satisfied, for he said, "But Master, we do not notice that the Father in heaven is always kind and merciful to us. Often we suffer grievously on earth, and not always are our prayers answered. At what point do we not understand the meaning of your teaching?" Jesus answered, "Thomas, how long will it be before you will be able to listen with the ear of the Spirit? How long will it be before you recognize that this kingdom is a spiritual kingdom, and that my Father is also a spiritual being? Don't you understand that I am teaching you as spiritual children in the spiritual family of heaven, whose head, the Father, is an infinite, eternal Spirit? Will you not allow me to use the earthly family to clarify divine relations, without applying my teachings so literally to material things? In your thinking, can you not separate the spiritual realities of the kingdom from the material, social, economic, and political problems of our time? If I speak the language of the Spirit, why do you insist on translating my intention into the language of the flesh just because I dare to use ordinary, literal relations to clarify things? Children, I beg you to stop applying the teaching of the kingdom of the Spirit to political or vile matters such as slavery, poverty, or misery, and to the material problems of human equity and justice. These worldly matters concern the people of this world, and although they affect all people in some sense, you are called to represent me in the world, just as I represent my Father. You are spiritual ambassadors of a spiritual kingdom, special representatives of the Father who is Spirit. After all I have taught you, it should now be possible to teach you as adults in the kingdom of Spirit. Must I always continue to address you only as children? Will you then never grow up spiritually? I love you and will be patient with you, yes, until the end of our being together in the flesh. And after that my Spirit will precede you into all the world.